I've been working closely with coaches now for the past 16 years to help them be better at both coaching and working with their clients, but also better at selling to their clients and rolling them into not just their work, but into like this better vision for what that person is capable of. And throughout those 16 years, I've learned a lot about what it takes to really be authentic, what it takes to be someone that is naturally good at enrolling clients without being pushy, without being manipulative, without being someone that's here to take an agenda and like in a slimy way slap it down on the session where you're going to hire me no matter what. Because I've dealt with a lot of coaches that have that mentality that feel like there's no other way to sell. You either get the answer now or they're never going to sign up for you. And you have to guilt and manipulate them into hiring you. And I later discovered that's complete bullshit. Not only does that make you feel gross, it makes the other person feel gross. And now if they do hire you, it's this weird codependent relationship. That's not what I'm about, and I'm assuming it's not what you're about either. So in this video, we're going to tackle the top 3 common mistakes that I see that are on a much deeper level, really impact the level of trust that person feels in potentially hiring you. And we're going to look at each of these here. The number one biggest mistake that I see, this one is huge, and it's across the board historically. And it's even there in a lot of really seasoned coaches, a lot of people that have been doing this for a while. And number one is not accessing the client's true motivation. And that might sound weird because as a coach, that's, a big part of our job, right? It's to access, like to get to know and help that person discover, like this is really your North Star, what fires you up the most. But I found that coaches typically have a bias toward what we want as people. What is your dream? What is your vision? What is it that you want to create? And we use that metaphor of driving in the car, and how are you going to get where you want to go if you're constantly, checking the rear view window, you're going to constantly crash into trees and stuff. So we have to be clear on where we want to go. And I'm 100% on board with that. I know that from experience. Yes. However, before someone actually hires you, that's frequently not their current level of motivation. Most of the time, they have a problem. They have something that's not working, right? They have something in their life they've identified. This sucks. Like I gotta fix this thing. It's irritating me. I gotta get rid of it. And I know as a coach, that might feel like nails on a chalkboard to you. Like, okay, but it's not about fixing the problem. It's about creating what you want. And so there's a war of psychology. Don't try to win this war early on. Instead, fully flesh out how that person is motivated. And so look at both what they want and do your thing where I know you're going to challenge them. You're going to push them, but then also look at, well, what is it that they don't want? What are they tired of? What are they frustrated with? A great question that you can ask is what's most frustrating to you about that? What is most limiting to you about that? And that's usually where people have more of a bias to get out of that initially. Now, once they start working with you, game on. They flip that and then become someone that's drawn toward a move toward motivation. But right now, they're likely move away. And so if you skip that, the mistake that I see is a lot of coaches just kind of run right over that, or they force the person or they challenge the person to translate that problem into something positive. But then that person doesn't really feel that connection between really how your coaching is going to help them with what motivates them the most. And so the problem with doing this is if you're not in the habit of actually helping connect to all the ways they're motivated, they are not going to hire you. It's going to come from what you want them to be motivated by, but not what they want to be motivated by. And that is the first mistake that I see time and time again in this space. The next problem that I see is making the coaching too theoretical. And I call this nowifying your work. When you nowify your work, it means you take your coaching, what you're going to be working on together, and you bring it into the most critical, important context in that person's life. All right, so let me give you an example of this, and then you'll see where I'm going with this, because I know this is a little abstract. So let's say you're an embodiment coach, a somatic coach, a breath work coach, a yoga coach, right? You work with someone's body, right? And so look at how disjointed it would be. And I've watched, I've both heard and have seen coaches in action that have this weird hypocrisy going on, where let's say I'm this somatic coach, and now I'm doing a discovery call with you, and we get to the offer, and then I pull up a PowerPoint, and I'm now walking you through 20 different slides of how amazing somatic work is. And I'm explaining it to you. And I'm explaining the benefits of it. I'm saying, here's why you need it. Here's what it'll do for you. Here's my 20-step framework. At the end of it, all right, do you want to start? Do you want to work together? Now, have I been in my body leading that? Have I gotten you more into your body leading that? Or have we both come up into our brain and now we're analyzing it together? That's one of the biggest disconnects that I see. We get into the world of idea world or idea land. And it's where we get all theoretical instead of taking what that client, what the context they care about most. All right. So if it's for somatic work, for example, what do you want to shift in your life? Yes, across the board, it's relevant. I get that. But there's likely one context in that person's life they care about the most. And so let's say they are a business founder. And let's say they frequently, right now, they're going to investors and they're trying to raise capital. Okay, great. Tell me how that's going. And they start to describe, well, it all goes well, except when I get to that point in the pitch where I get to the money and then I feel this like tension in my throat. I get like these deer in the headlights look. And it's hard for me to keep talking. I have to drink lots of water. It's like I almost choke on my words. I'm not the same confident, relaxed person I am throughout the way I run my business, the way my team comes to me with problems, the way I lead them. I'm confident. But this part in the freaking investors meeting, I kept freaking out with. I don't know why. Right? Now that you've identified that context, instead of showing them a 20-point PowerPoint, what if you said, all right, I'm the next investor. Why should we give you capital? Go. And then that person starts to answer. Now, let them talk for a little bit. Freeze it right there. Do you see what's happening? Do you notice how your breathing just changed? Do you notice how your body language just shifted? Do you notice your facial expressions just shifted? Do you notice how right in that moment, 20 seconds in, you went out of your body into your head? Do you see that? Do you feel that? Now let's try it. Do it again, except this time we're going to do this exercise. Now try it. Do you see how that is your best pitch? Do you see how that's far more powerful and far more real for that person compared to this theoretical thing? Like, well, in the future, we'll work on all these things together. You're bringing what they care about most, and you're bringing it right into the moment. Remember that scene in The Matrix, right? I quote that movie all the time because this movie fucking rules. I love this movie. It's that scene in The Matrix where Morpheus is training Neo, right? Neo got he got jacked into the brain. He got all that stuff, all the training, all the skill sets. And he's like, I know Kung Fu. And what does Morpheus say? Show me, right? Show me. So find what your client wants to shift most. Find out how they're currently showing up with that. Show me. And then instead of explaining your coaching in that moment, bring it into the now. Make it real. Work with them through that in that moment. I don't care how you work with people. Any type of coaching that you do can be made real by bringing it into the moment. And so the mistake I see here is that disconnect here, where it gets too hypothetical. You want to avoid that because people then will ask you for a proposal and they'll say, can you just send it over? Sure, I'll think about it. But it never became real for them. All right, the final one of my favorites. Too much companion, not enough guide. I'm going to give you two extremes here. All right. One extreme, I am the person that's telling you throughout the conversation. Let's say it's a discovery call. I'm telling you throughout, this is bad, this is wrong, stop doing this. Follow my system. It works every single time. My system helps people like you. I really don't need to know that much about you, actually. But by my system, it works every single time because people like you that are completely hopeless end up buying it. They hire me and it works 100% of the time. It's this 3-step process. All right, you do this, you do that, you do that. Great, it's $5,000. Pay me now. Oh, you don't want to pay me now. So now you're going to go think about it. Well, let me tell you what happens when you go home and you start thinking about it. Your mind wants to make another excuse, just like you've made excuses in your life, right? That's one extreme. Now, the other extreme is, well, what do you want to do? Well, It's not about what I think. It's not about what I see. It's not about me at all, actually. It's all about you. Do you want to make this real for yourself? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Take all the time you may need, whatever. Sure, if it so aligns. If you ever want to make a donation to the Church of Coaching, please let me know. Yes, I'll be here. That's another extreme. Neither one works. One is very transactional. It's also, it's completely against the ethos of coaching. You're being a dick. But the other is you're taking yourself out of it so much that you have zero leadership in the dynamic. The mistake that I see here a lot is coaches tend to slide way into the latter. They become more of what I call the companion. They're that person that they're like, all right, adventurer, we're going to take you into the jungle. And it's going to be a little scary. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be invigorating. I know you haven't been before, but trust me, we got this. And that person's like, okay. Well, I don't want to go through this part because it looks really like hot. So like, can we skip that? And also, yeah, like the bushes right there look really prickly and pointy, and I don't want to do that shit. I just want to get from like here all the way across it like the fastest possible way. So like, yeah, like, can we do that? And it's like, well, what do you want most? Okay, well, yeah, let's co-create that. Let's design this together. And it's a very permission-based frame where people don't feel your leadership. They feel that they're just going to load you up with their luggage and go, all right, I'm going this way. And some people may hire you for that, but they're going to heavily discount your value and they're not going to take you seriously. Instead, you want to be someone that is the guide. Now, the guide, first of all, doesn't just give them a roadmap and ignore the person and say, look, I don't really care what you brought with you. I don't care what you packed. I don't care what you're wearing, whatever. Yeah, we'll get you through the jungle. It works every single time. Just shut up and do what I say. All right. The guide assesses the person. Okay. Like you brought 3 pairs of clothing. That's okay. But I suggested 5. You don't quite have that. Okay. So we have to create a plan to work with that. Okay. I know you want to avoid the prickly thorns here on the map. But the reason we need to go through that is because I know from experience, going through the swampland will kill you. We're not going to do that. We're going to go here this way. I know it's uncomfortable. I've been there before. And I got your back when it starts getting prickly. I know. Right? I'm not asking. I'm not saying, but okay, but do you want to do this? It's like, this is the way. I've been here before, and this is what I see for you. And in fact, I see for you, hey, if you're dodging the prickliness here, I know you're dodging it out there. So hell no, we're not dodging it. Right? There's just a different level of leadership. You want to be the guide. You want to be someone that asserts your authority, not because it's in the best interest of your ego and having you be right, because it's in the best interest in the truth for the client. And you start to assess, you start to gather information through your questions, through what you ask them, through getting to know them. You start to assess and then form your intuitive truth that you need to tell this person. And if you shortcut that, your truth is going to be too one-dimensional, too one-fits-all. But if you also just get lost in their perspective and you never share yours and you never show, okay, I know you think you need to do this, but that's actually why what you're doing isn't working. Trust me, we have to go this way. If you never do any of that, you're not leading them. They're also not going to take you seriously. And for a lot of you, I know that's uncomfortable. You are a people pleaser. It is difficult for you to evaluate the discomfort of that person and recognize that that discomfort doesn't mean that they're not wanting to hire you. It's like you got to separate the two. And I know it's uncomfortable to do that because part of you might feel like, well, if negative emotions come up or they get uncomfortable with what I'm suggesting, I'm doing a bad job. No, you're doing a great job. You're getting to their shit. And when they're in their shit, are they someone that's going to be like, I love this feeling. Give me more of it. Push me even higher. Or are they going to be starting to challenge and push back and go, well, if the shit's coming up now, are you going to be someone I can really trust when the shit actually hits the fan? When I'm in that crisis, when I'm in that low point, when I really need a kick in the ass, are you going to be that person? Or are you going to be this dancing around kind of person? Are you going to tell me the truth even when I don't want to hear it, even when it might not be comfortable for you to tell me? That's what the guide has to be able to do. And that person is unconsciously evaluating if you're capable of doing that throughout the entire sales process. So keep these three things in mind. You'll enroll more clients that really want to do the work with you, that really want to roll up their sleeves, that are able to be transparent and real with you, and you're able to be real with them as well. Hope this video resonated with you. Drop me a comment if you got an insight from this, if you want to share your experience around selling, what's working for you, what's not working. Let me know, and I will see you in the next video.